What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NH Experience. Hope everybody's doing well. And on this episode, I have a very special guest, one of the most talented guys in not only Southern California, but in the nation. This man is responsible for painting one of the greatest murals we've seen with the Kobe Bryant Oscar mural located in Hollywood, California. He's definitely been one of the most sought after artists. He's been doing this for a long time. He just didn't start yesterday. He's been doing this for a long time, putting in a lot of work. He's got a great foundation in Orange County. We'll get into that as well as his journey to where he is right now. Please help me welcome the one and only Brian Peterson. What's going on, Brian? What's happening, man?
Good, man. Hey, that was a dope introduction. That was one of the best. I appreciate you having me on here, Nick.
Oh, man, thank you. It's my pleasure, man. Thank you. I know you've been a busy guy. We've been trying to catch up with you for a long period of time, so I'm glad you were able to sit down with me for at least a few minutes, man, and put the brushes down and have a conversation with me. Uh, I want to talk to you a little bit about, first of all, uh, you've been an artist for quite a while. You've gone to school for you. This is something that's been in your heart, a God-given gift. Um, but how did you get to the point where you realize, okay, art is the way I want to go. This is the lane I want to travel in. This is the lane. This is what I want to do with my life, and really be able to inspire others while doing that.
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Art for me, like I was a third grader, and my teacher sort of discovered that I was an artist. Told my family, look, you should put your son in art school. Like he has some talent. And I grew up my whole life, actually. I wanted to be a fine artist when I was little. And I remember people telling me, well, you might be a starving artist, right? And so I grew up with this idea of like, I don't want to be a starving artist. And so I actually became a designer. And I designed cars for about 15 years almost before branching out, quitting my job as a car designer and becoming a full-time artist. And so I would say, to answer your question, just within like the last year and a half, man, is when I've actually realized that like I'm supposed to be in the world as an artist, showing people that you can thrive and blessing communities with my gift set.
Now, you said something very interesting, and you said that somebody told you about being a starving artist, and
Right.
I want to ask you, how much did that affect your ability, your mental capacity, as far as really pursuing it versus someone encouraging you to do your art? Do you feel like you would have been on a different path, or you feel like this would have been a path for you regardless?
No, man, that word seeded in my heart. Starving artist was like rooted inside of my soul for years, right? And it's why I became a car designer. I said, let me put my art towards a career, right? And I think to reverse some of that negative thinking or those negative words that get stuck inside of us, you need the opposite. You need encouragers on your side. And so I have the most amazing wife. She was encouraging me for years to quit my job and be an artist before I mustered up the courage enough to do it. But she was like the reversal of that word that was stuck inside of me. And so you need someone that is going to move in the opposite spirit of the negativity that you carry within yourself to encourage you to jump and go forward.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, that is, to me, that is a gem that continues to need to be, perpetuated through our communities, as far as just having that powerful and positive reinforcement. You talked
Hmm.
about being the designer for cars, though. You work with Kia Motors. Now, everybody knows Kia Motors because if you watch the NBA, that's their head sponsor or one of their main sponsors. But what did you do specifically at Kia Motors when you talked about the art and the design of it? Because I know a lot of people may say, "Well, man, he designed a car, but he was on the assembly line. What's going on?" So explain to the people exactly what you did with Kia Motors and your art and how you brought that to life.
Yeah, so my job title was senior automotive interior designer, and so I designed the inside of the cars. And what that looks like is regular day at work. I'm basically a sketch artist, so I'm sketching and drawing out what I believe these interiors should look and feel like. And then I work with the clay modeling team and like the digital design team, and we either build models of them in the computer or we build full scale clay models. And as the designer, you're often the lead on the project. So you're working with a team of like 4 or 5 guys on a giant clay model trying to execute what I previously drew maybe a few weeks before. And so my job was mostly sketching and concept art for the insides of automobiles. And two of the cars that are most recently just come out, three actually, the Kia Niro interior was designed by me, the Kia Sorento interior that just came out, and the future Sportage, which should be out in the next year or so, are all my designs.
So now from now on, man, I'm gonna say this. Every time I think of a Kia and the inside of a Kia, I'm gonna have to think of you now.
Yeah.
Your design.
Only if you like it, though. If you don't.
Hey man, you know what? You talented enough. I'm sure everybody should like it. If you don't like it, something wrong with you. Because I know right. I've seen some of your other work, and I know that diligence that you put in there is what you do now. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
How much creative freedom did you have with the designing while you were at Kia, though?
It's actually, so you don't have a lot of creative freedom because you have to design within like safety requirements, cost, all kind of ergonomic. A person's got to fit in it and be comfortable, all those issues. But sometimes what I find is that the more constraints that you put yourself in as a creative, the more creativity starts to thrive around you. So sometimes the worst thing is if somebody says, "Oh, just do whatever you want," and there's no constraints. It's really hard to be creative when it's just complete freedom. So sometimes those boxes that are placed around us are actually like fuel for thinking differently about the way you would design something.
Now, at what moment did you realize, Brian, that, okay, I know you talked about your wife encouraging you and telling you go with your art, but at what point did you make the decision to say, okay, I'm about to put in my 2 weeks and my key card ain't going to work anymore. I need to go and focus on what I need to focus on, which is for me.
Yeah, it's funny because I thought about that whole key card thing. Kia, it's such like a top secret design environment. You actually use your fingerprint. So I was like, one day my fingerprint's not going to work to get in here, right? But okay, so Nick, there was this moment where I was really getting bitter with my job because I had so much art going on outside of work. I'd walk into the office some days and just be like, man, like, I wish I could just be out there in the world, either painting my neighbors, experiencing homelessness, or working on a mural. And I didn't want to be a car designer anymore. And I'm sitting at my computer drawing, doing my work for the day, bitter, mind you. And I felt God speak to my heart and say, I won't make a way for you to leave out of this place with a bitter heart. He's like, when you leave, you'll leave loving it. And so I made this decision from within inside of me in that moment. And I said, I'm going to love my job again. I'm going to do the best I can because I know that would be my ticket. That like if me leaving with the right heart space is the best thing I can do leaving my job. Me leaving bitter with a bitter seed inside of me is the worst thing I can do. And so from that moment, I won 2 designs. I got promoted and I actually left on like the top of my career. I left Kia when it made sense to nobody. And so, but it made complete sense to me because my heart was in the right space. I gave it everything I had and I knew transition was here. And so let that be a word to people. I think sometimes we get bitter and angry and we let that stuff be a decision maker for us. But the best thing you can do is keep that heart pure and make the right decisions when the time is right for you.
Man, that's a bar. If I'm gonna have to give you an offering for that one, bro. That was a bar. that was timely, man. I think that was definitely some good wisdom and advice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you talk about your faith quite a bit. You feel like, I know you believe that your faith definitely carries you and guides you into different directions. And one thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the rest of your art platform is the fact of what you do for the community of Santa Ana, California. And I believe it's called The Elephant in the Room.
Yeah, that's how it started. The project is called, the nonprofit's called Faces of Santa Ana. Okay, but it started as this notion of like, what does it look like to address the elephant in the room in all areas of your life? And that phrase often refers to like the big things that are so monumental, the problems that are so huge that we decide to just leave them in the room because where do I start kind of feeling, right? And so, yeah, Faces of Santa Ana, you can see behind me. I paint portraits of my neighbors experiencing homelessness. Or some people I might change the way I talk about this, houselessness. I actually like that word better. And I paint them in a dignified light. I'm praying for them as I'm painting. I'm using my ability to paint to do what I believe is like worship unto God, and then turning these canvases around and showing people, hey, this is what God sees in you. You're way more than homelessness. You're way more than the situation you find yourself in. And we end up selling these paintings and using the money to help them pursue dreams, desires, wishes, rehabilitation, whatever it may be, And this project has absolutely changed my life. It's the catalyst behind everything else we've talked about. And this project was actually going on while I was working as a designer. So you can see how I found like this passion in the streets, and it was like at war with this like corporate world that I was in that I used to love, right? And so this is one of the reasons why I stepped out and said, I need to be an artist. I need to be in the streets. I need to be in the world.
Definitely, man. I mean, I think that's key as far as just trying to be the person who's the betterment of society, trying to help others, get back on track and find their way, whatever that pathway may be. And I think that's fantastic that you're using your art to express not only yourself but to tell stories of others that may not have a voice. And that's the thing that I picked up on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think the best thing we can do for humanity is give a voice to the voiceless, or give hope to the hopeless. Or, and another way to look at it is actually like change the lens by which other people see. I've had a lot of people look at my art and say, man, like you've helped me see homelessness different. I used to see homelessness as XYZ, and now I see homelessness as people, actually real people who are looking for change, who need change, who have, for whatever reason, doesn't matter what the reason is, have ended up on our streets, right? And so I feel like that's my assignment here on earth, amongst a bunch of other things.
Yeah, I want to say, man, because you multi-talented, man. You got a lot of irons in the fire. I know you're a very busy person. And, growing up, you talked about, in third grade, finally getting into art classes and things like that. But who did you look up to? Was there some artists or things that you saw that inspired you to be an artist? And who inspires you now, if anybody?
That's good, man. It's funny, like growing up, I mean, I had my art history classes and stuff like that, but there was no artist that I'm like, I want to be like that person. I can't say that that was a piece of my growing up. I was huge into basketball though. And so I was huge into Kobe Bryant. Like if you went into my room, there was Kobe posters and there's things on the wall. And so I don't think it's a coincidence now that I gotten to paint 2 Kobe murals, maybe more. And he was a huge part of my life growing up, right? And so I looked up to him in a way that like he was like this mentor from afar. I loved his energy. I loved his style, right? And but in terms of the art side, man, I just feel like I'm from Miami. And so a lot of people will look at my work and say, man, it looks like it's from Miami. Like it's colorful, it's bright. And so I think more than anything, I think my environment, where I grew up, the palm trees, the sunshine, South Beach, all of these things are the things that I really feel like influence my art today.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm glad you brought up Kobe Bryant, man, because you had an amazing, amazing art piece of art with you painting the mural of Kobe Bryant when he won his Oscar, and that photo that we all know now with him kissing the Oscar, the first NBA player to win an Oscar, and it might be a very long time before we see another NBA player win an Oscar, but he was definitely the first. There would be no replacing that.
Yeah.
How were you able to be able to paint that mural at Hollywood and Highland, one of the most famous spots in Southern California? How did that come about? Because I know they just don't say, "Hey, we're going to pick you. We're going to pick you." You had to be in the right place at the right time, but then know the right people. So how did that come about? Can you just walk us through the story of that, please?
Yeah, man. And for those listening, like listen close, because this story has changed my life and the way I do business today. So I did a Kobe mural a couple weeks before that. And I was with a film crew and we were talking about the mural. They were documenting sort of my life story, and one of my partners that I painted with the other mural with. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, Nick, I just felt like I got hit with like some divine knowledge. And I stopped the camera crew. I said, "Hey guys, I got an idea." And they looked at me like, "What are you talking about? We're filming, right?" And I was like, "No, I got an idea. Nobody has done the mural of Kobe that I think Kobe would have wanted us all to paint." And they're like, "What are you talking about, man? There's like 800 of them. I'm sure we got it covered, right?" And I'm like, "No, like I haven't seen the Oscar kiss." And that, I remember Kobe saying like that was his most special moment, like that was his highest achievement. And for that not to be painted on a wall somewhere, I think, for me, I was like, I think I was tapping into like the actual subject. Like if Kobe was here today, he'd probably be like, "Okay, paint my Oscar. Like that's my favorite moment." And so I told this crew, I said, "I'm gonna find a wall." And next day I was like a madman, Nick, cold calling as many people as I could, which is what Kobe used to do, right? So I found this garage on Google Maps. I was walking up and down the street on my phone, and I found this garage on Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna call until I can find the owner of this garage. And so I called the security teams, and I couldn't find the owner. After like 5 calls or so, I'm frustrated. I'm like, this isn't working. I call one security team back, and he gives me this number. And he goes, I don't know, man, call this number. So I called this last number looking for the owner of this wall. I laid out my vision on the phone before the woman who could really even speak, right? Her name was Lindsay. And Lindsay said, look, we don't own that wall either. Like, I'm sorry. But she said, we do. You've reached the management team of Hollywood and Highland. And we manage the Dolby Theater and that whole property and everything involved with it. And she said, you know what? Like, we want this project. We'll find a wall for it, but this needs to be near the Dolby Theater. And I was like, what? So I accidentally called. The answer to your question is I accidentally called Hollywood and Highland, the management company of the Dolby Theater and that whole complex, laid out the vision, and they loved it. And she begged me. She said, stop looking for that other wall. We want this project. But what we'll have to do is we'll have to get approval from the Academy. And then ultimately we had to get approval from the Bryant family. And so there was these gates we had to walk through to see it come to pass. And obviously it worked out well because the mural's on the 4th floor terrace of Hollywood and Highland, right adjacent to the Dolby Theater where he won the award.
That's dope, man. That's an incredible story. I mean, you couldn't have written a better story than that.
No, accidentally calling the place that I should have. Like, I didn't. So if I'm honest, like, man, I don't think I would have. I didn't believe in myself enough to ever think to call the Dolby Theater and say, I want to paint a mural for you. Like, that dream was so big that I would have never done that on my own, like, human knowledge. I needed that accident to happen for me to ever step into that opportunity. But now knowing that, it's like, I just think of stories of Kobe, and he would cold call like Apple and Steve Jobs, and he'd cold call. He said he'd cold call anybody that he wanted to receive knowledge from or do business with. And I think we need to walk in that sort of wisdom and say, like, nobody's out of reach, no dream's too big, anything's possible. And our action should reflect that.
Man, true that. Indeed. So were you able to speak to anybody from the Bryant family, or did they reach out to you, or their representatives reach out to you once they, saw the mural?
Once it got approved, I just got approved through Hollywood and Highland. I didn't talk to anybody, but on the second day out there painting, we got word that Vanessa Bryant was coming. And I guess she loved the artwork. I showed her like a digital version of it first. That's what they approved. And she decided that her and her publicist wanted to come out. So it was a Thursday night. She was coming at 10 p.m. So I finished the mural at 9:58 p.m. I'm like wiping paint off my hands. We're like setting up lights for her to come out because it was kind of dark, obviously. And at 10:03, she walks around the corner. And it was the most amazing experience. We spent about a half hour or so with her. And she was just reflecting on the mural. Every emotion came to pass, like joyful, like mourning, like crying, all of it, right? It was like this moment. But ultimately, my favorite words from her mouth is she said, you know what, Kobe would have really loved this one. And for her to say that, for half of Kobe to say that, like they have a union, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, Vanessa Bryant speaking on behalf of her husband and saying that Kobe would have loved this one was like, I don't know if there's anything better. Like I almost don't even know how to talk to you about it right now, right? But it was a very, very special moment, just being there with Vanessa and seeing her reaction to it.
Man, that's major. I mean, to have someone of her stature and what she's been through. I mean, I've always said she's exemplified such strength, and courage throughout this whole process, man. And for her to come out to see you and painting her late husband, man, that's big, bro.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, she was an amazing person. Again, I met her for a half an hour, but you know how when you meet somebody, you can just feel their vibe. Like, man, just down to earth. Like, you could tell she's just leading her household in a beautiful way. Real, her attention to detail. I don't know if she got this from Kobe, or I don't know if this was, maybe Kobe was attracted to her because of this, but her attention to detail on that mural was the things she was picking up on, man, was like blew my mind. She even asked me to fix a little part of it. She's like, can you just shave a little bit off his nose here? And it would be like, then it would be perfect, right? So after she left, I shaved like an inch off of the shadow on his nose. But her level of detail was like nobody I've ever met. And that's a testament to who she is. I think people that clue in on details like that are just they're real authentic people. And it was a joy. I learned from her. Like, I don't think I can ever do a mural now and not pay attention to every little detail to make sure it's perfect, because she was looking at everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now walk me through the day where everybody now gets a chance to see the project that you've been working on. Vanessa's already seen it. She's approved of it. Now the people get a chance to see it, and the unveiling, and you have a great ceremony as a result. So walk me through that day. What were you feeling? What were the thoughts going through your head? And then walk me through it all the way until the unveiling.
Yeah. Interesting. So obviously coming off of the Vanessa meeting was like a high, like, okay, if she liked it, everyone else hopefully should like it. Right. And they had this beautiful curtain set up. So we had like a couple of news stations there. There's maybe 4 or 5 sort of media channels around. And Ed from Hollywood and Highland and Lindsay were going to do a little speech, and then I would sort of close it out and do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 curtain drop, right? And I just knew that I could write a script and I can labor over a script and decide what I'm going to say, but there was a big piece of me, Nick, that was like, I'm supposed to get up there and wing this thing. Like, if what I believe about Kobe is within me, then I should be able to get up here and actually just say what's in my heart. And that's what I did. And I got up there, and like, I think people liked the speech more than they did the mural, right? There was people coming up to me that were like, man, one guy said, he's like, I feel like I can run through a wall right now after hearing that speech, right? But it was just like, I'm like, how can I just channel the most authentic version of me, what I've learned from Kobe, his legacy, the impact on the LA community? How can that just come from here in my heart, out of my mouth, without any obstruction? And that's what I did. And then we unveiled it. And it's been a beautiful, I get tagged in it like every day. Hollywood and Highland, if you haven't seen it, when you go out there, they put floor stickers all the way around the property. So if you're on Hollywood Boulevard, you're walking and there's a floor sticker that says like, this way to the Kobe mural. And it just takes you all the way up the escalators and all that stuff. So they did an amazing job sort of promoting it. And then the highlight, if you want to talk about people, man, a couple weeks ago, Jimmy Kimmel shared it on his show. And just the opening of his show, he highlighted the mural. It's right across from where they film. And he said his team has been so happy to just look at it as motivation every day they come into the office. And so we've gotten nothing but positive responses. I haven't gotten one negative comment. And that's not the way murals usually work. You're usually like 30-70, 20-80 of like negative comments, right? But I think people love it because it was a transcendent moment for Kobe. And now it's there so everyone in the public can experience it on a daily basis.
Now, how much has your life changed? You got any new family members all of a sudden now that you got this newfound, what we call newfound celebrity? Have you got any strange cousins that have come out the woodworks? Like, what's new for Brian?
Oh man, well, what's new for me is I have a 21-month-old daughter, but we're expecting another child. So in terms of new family members, we got one coming in November, right? That's not associated with fame or celebrity. Right? And you know what, man? Like, actually, the increase for me, like, if we want to talk about increase, what's going on? The increase for me came before the Kobe mural. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done because I've never been a boss, but I hired an assistant and she's been working closely with me, doing all my admin work. And right now she has me booked up through October, right? Like, can't take any new work until after October. And it's just like every week we stack something else on. And so I think the Kobe mural, yes, things are coming from it. I have had many calls where people were like, I saw that mural, like, let's talk, right? And there's things that are coming from it. But I think the internal work happened in me before that mural. So had I not done that internal work to get myself ready for what was coming after that mural, the Kobe mural could have destroyed me. Have I not had an assistant, it would have been the worst thing possible, right? And so I felt like I did the pre-work. And I received a breakthrough in terms of being an entrepreneur and business owner and hiring an employee. And now I can handle the increase that comes from doing a project such as Hollywood and Highland, working with the Academy, all that stuff, right?
Absolutely, man. So what other projects I know you said you had a lot of projects that you have coming down the line. So what are some of the projects that you have coming up that we should be looking forward to?
Yeah, I got a fun one coming up in July, two in July, actually. One is a Boys and Girls Club in Orange County here, a big mural off the side of the freeway, so you'd be able to see it on the freeway driving by every day. Revamping a whole playground of a school. So painting the floor,
Nice.
wall murals. It's taking like an inner city school that doesn't have any green space, and with paint and brushes and murals, transforming it into a place that kids would feel like, man, I want to be in this playground every day. And so then there's just a couple more murals coming later. I think in August, I got a new affordable housing project going up that I'll be doing 2 murals on and 2 public
Nice.
sculptures. And then right now, the painting that you see behind me, I'm finishing up a series where I was commissioned to paint 21 portraits of our neighbors experiencing homelessness. And so I got 3 more to do, but the one you see behind me is one of 21. And they're all going to be hung in a housing project that houses, I think there's like 50 or so people in there, and 21 of them are going to be painted. And so it's going to hang in their hallways. So I got all kind of things happening. And I just got reached out for a potential Kobe mural in Long Beach. So stay tuned. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see if the deal works out, the pricing and the timing and all of that stuff. But that's going to be an exciting one.
Absolutely. Now, I know you said you're a basketball fan. So give me your Mount Rushmore of basketball players that you would put on your Mount Rushmore.
On my Mount Rushmore. Okay. So obviously I got to have Kobe on there. Is this like personal Mount Rushmore or like who should actually be on there?
It's just your personal Mount Rushmore. Like whoever you want to have on there, it's up to you.
Because it could be offensive to some people, right? Yeah. Okay.
Who cares?
So Kobe, got to put Dwayne Wade on there because I'm from Miami, grew up in like the Dwayne Wade era. I'm just gonna put this on this is kind of like an X factor. I'm gonna put 5 people in one or whatever. But I grew up watching the Heat, like the Tim Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn, PJ Brown era. So I'm just gonna put that team on there because that team is what got me into like watching basketball, right? Steph Curry, I love Steph. I love that he leads with his faith. I love that, I love his swag, but every chance he gets, he's glorifying his king. So for that, I'm always rocking with Steph Curry. And I got to put LeBron on there because it's just interesting. I'm from Miami. He played in Miami. I went to college in Cleveland. He played in Cleveland. I'm living in LA. He's in LA. And so I feel like everywhere I've been, LeBron's been playing when I've been living there. So I got to have him on the Mount Rushmore too. And then Jordan, obviously, grew up like everybody else, spending $200 on a pair of Jordans every chance I could get, right? And obviously, like what he's done for the game is just crazy, right? And so this is not me sitting down and saying these are the best players on the Mount Rushmore. This is just people that have impacted my life, right?
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So could you see yourself painting a LeBron mural at some point, especially with how you guys' lives are parallel?
Yeah, I mean, if it impacts the community in a positive way, if it's in a space that makes sense to have LeBron there, I do believe that murals should exist. Like you should paint something that's speaking the story of the mile radius that's where you're painting it. And so if those things make sense and the business makes sense, it would be an honor, right? Like, love him or hate him. I like LeBron, but love him or hate him, like this guy has done something that no one's ever done and may never repeat, right? Like he's quite amazing. And maybe he'll win the next Oscar for Space Jam 2. Hey, he's done more shocking things. Down 3-1. Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know about all that, but
maybe
I get what you're saying.
Maybe they'll give it to Bugs Bunny.
That might be. Now that might be. But no, I agree with you. I think what he's done, what LeBron has done with the I Promise School, what he's done as far as the business side, showing other players that there can still be businessmen as well as players, athletes, more than an athlete campaign. He's done a lot of great things. I mean, hired a lot of young people, young Black people and people of color to be a part of his media companies and things of that nature. So you got to give props and credit where it's due.
Yeah.
And he's definitely changed the landscape for sure.
Yeah.
Same thing what we see with Kobe. Kobe's definitely changed the landscape. I mean, Mamba mentality. Everybody now is Mamba mentality. And we didn't know what that was until he actually released it. And now he's changed the entire landscape.
Yeah, there's kids that know Mamba mentality that never saw him play. so he's yeah, definitely that's legacy right there. That's
Uh,
all we can hope to do is leave behind something when we're gone.
what do you want when it's all said and done? What do you want people to know about you, and what do you want to leave behind?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my legacy, first and foremost, I want people to know that, like, man, with God, everything's possible. I want to live a life that is full of impossibilities, full of miracles, full of risk taking, where it was like life was like an adventure, and I want to help others pursue that. I want to leave behind this idea of like we can break through barriers of fear. That fear should never hold us back from our destiny, from our purpose, for what we're called and meant to walk in. I want to leave behind a legacy of people understanding that everyone's born with a gift. Everyone has a skill set. Some are radio hosts, some are artists, some are basketball players. But what does it look like for you to nurture, water your gift, see that gift transform and change communities around you? And then I just want to leave behind a ton of art. I want to leave behind art for people long after I'm gone. That legacy lives on through paintings and murals. And then I want to be a good husband and father. I want to be a great father to my kids, teach them all the things I just told you a second ago, and be a great husband to my wife. And I think if I could do those things, oh, and one more thing, this is the biggest one. This is one of the biggest ones. I want to leave behind a legacy with faces of mankind. We talked about Faces of
Mm.
Santa Ana and me painting portraits of the homeless. We're now in 4 cities. I have multiple artists doing the same thing. And so I want to see this grow around the world. I want to see Faces of Mankind permeate Europe and Asia and more places in the US and Africa. What if you saw Faces of Liberia, Faces of Senegal, Faces of
Mm.
Berlin? I want artists all over the world using their gifting to tell the stories and to give a voice to the voiceless.
Hey
That's
man,
that's what I want. That's my dream.
hey man, you can't go wrong with that. All things are possible through God for sure. So
Mhm.
absolutely, man, I'm with you on that. Now, if anybody wants more information on how they can help and continue the great work that you do with the Faces of Santa Ana, what is the best way for them to get in contact or reach out?
Yeah, we actually have on www.facesofmankind.org, we have a sign up sheet if you're an artist and you want to do this in your city. So you can sign up, share your vision with me, and we'll contact you and have a Zoom call. Or if you just prefer like Facebook, Instagram, Faces of Santa Ana on Instagram is my personal page that I'll respond back to you. And then we have Faces of Santa Ana on Facebook as well. And but
Uh,
our main site is facesofmankind.org. You'll be able to see all kind of things on there about what we're doing.
Man, that's awesome. That is fantastic. You are a phenomenal individual, including a really incredibly talented artist. I thank you for your time. I appreciate the gems that you've been dropping, the bars that you've dropped in this session, man. Yeah, just your overall joy and passion for what you do, man. I think it's so incredibly important. I think that what you do is definitely a testament to others to be able to pursue whatever you want to pursue, whatever that pathway may be. But
Yeah,
this is what I got to ask you before we go. Now
yeah.
you connected with
Here we go.
with the academy. You did
Yep.
a fantastic lifelong mural. Please tell me that you're gonna be you got the ultimate passes to every Academy Awards dinner and event for the rest of your life.
I
Please
don't
tell me
have,
that.
I don't have that yet, man. I haven't
All
got
right,
that
man.
invitation. So hook
We're
me
gonna have
up.
to get on that. We're gonna have to get on that, man, because you deserve it. We're gonna have to get you in there and get you all into on the videos, all on the
Yeah,
TV
yeah. Come on.
screen.
I clean up nice. If I can wear tux and I got tableware manners and all that stuff. Yeah, sign me up. I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, man. And please let everyone know they can continue to follow you and keep up with all your great work as well.
Yeah. Also follow my just my personal art page at Brian Peterson Arts on Instagram or brianpetersonart.com. There you'll see all my Kobe work and sort of new things that are popping up. But yeah, I just whoever wants to connect, I just love encouraging people. So if there's a moment where you just need to hop on a call and say, I don't know where to go from here. There's a dream in my heart that I don't know how to see it come to pass. Man, I just feel like part of my role here on earth is to be an encourager, to step out and pursue risk and pursue dreams. So hope to hear from you.
Absolutely. He is the one and only Brian Peterson. He is the artiste of our generation. Thank you so much for coming on the NH Experience. I greatly appreciate it. And we look forward to talking with you soon because we definitely will be talking again.
All right, man. Let me know. I'm here.